Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you guys all for coming out today. I got a lot on the go here, but we'll get through it. So I want to thank Rebecca. Thank you. I'll take that. Yeah. I want to thank Rebecca and Charlene for coming out and covering a lot of the stuff so I don't have to go over it again. What I want you to remember are a few key words. We've got the World Economic Forum, we've got the World Economic Forum Young Leaders, we've got their strategic plan with their sustainability goals, and thanks to Charlene, we've got the 15-minute cities, we've got the apartment buildings popping up, the infrastructure is there. So, I am a small town girl. I come from small town New Brunswick. I've lived there for 30 years and I've seen a lot of changes in my municipality while I've been there. Recently, in the last 3 years, thanks to some coercion that came from the government, I woke up to a lot of treasonous activities that were happening. So, bringing it back, basically what I want to get into is who we are and what we're doing. We are MBASCA. What MBASCA is, we're the New Brunswick Anti-Smart Cities Alliance. And that's just a big fancy way of saying we're a bunch of people who give a shit, okay? We're people, we're professionals. We took oaths. There's people who have extensive knowledge and they know their rights. What this is all about is our human rights. 100%. Yeah, so that's our main goal, is to educate people about human rights, because I know from my experience growing up that I was not taught my human rights. I was not taught the law. I was taught a whole bunch of stuff that got me a 9-to-5, that got me paying taxes, that got me buying a house, that got me paying taxes, that turned me into a consumer, because essentially that's what we all are. We consume. That's what we've become. So again, we take all these human rights violations into consideration. What do we do about it? We got to wake up our neighbors, okay? So a group of concerned citizens got together, and what we decided to do is focus on the digital ID right now, because that is the most detrimental thing that is going on at all levels of government. Well, it ties in our provincial government to the federal government through the fourth edition to the Canada Health Transfer, where the federal government was basically bribing the provincial government. We'll give you $42 million if you sign on to our digital ID program. So anyway, we approached HIGS, like Charlene told you, and told them, no, we don't stand for that. But that, you know, it raised awareness, but again, people, a lot of our New Brunswickers don't realize the detrimental aspects. They don't realize the privacy breaches, the data that they're signing over to God knows who. So anyway, we need to start getting in at a municipal level. Within MBASCA, what we're doing is we've created some signage and we've created some stickers. Now we're going old school with our advocacy. How better way to get a word across than a bright orange sign, right? Or bright yellow sign. Anyway, so we've got a whole line of signs that we want to see province-wide. We've got a whole line of yellow bumper stickers. They all say different things, or say no to digital ID, all our different campaigns. But basically, to wrap it all together, for example, these are some old stickers, but on one of our new stickers, we've actually, so this one is what are crisis actors? So we've actually got a website up and running, and all of this information will be on our website. So if you're driving around with this what are crisis actors bumper sticker, someone might actually think, well, what is a bumper, or what is a crisis actor? So essentially, guides them to our website, gives them all the rest of the information. We're branding. We're branding our movement, because we have no other way to wake up the people. They do not think that anything is wrong. So through this, we started holding town meetings in MBASCA. We need a committee set up to figure out our signage, et cetera, where we're going. We have a plan A and a plan B that we're working on. Our plan A is specifically getting involved at the municipal level with our town councillors, finding out what's going on behind the scenes. We're going at the court system through the use of natural law.
It's using the legal framework. You guys are using the legal framework in just a little bit of a different sense. And we do have natural law enshrined in our laws. We just need to learn and to understand how to use them.
Thank you. But so basically what happened is a lot of really good people were standing up for their human rights through the pandemic, got bogus charges, and they're fighting it in the court system. Now, when you sign power of attorney over to a lawyer, you're signing over your right for the lawyer to speak for you, right? Who's got the money for a lawyer anymore? So we're learning how to do this ourselves in court. Essentially, that's our plan A. Our plan B is what we're going to do when shit hits the fan, if shit hits the fan. I don't like, I'm a full steam ahead plan A girl, but plan B, we do have stuff cooking in the background. It has been cooking for a couple years now. So that's mostly about building community, getting to know your neighbors, finding out who's got the eggs, finding out who's got the clean meat. It's really just getting back to grassroots basics in your community. And if you can rock both Plan A and Plan B, that is great, because essentially that's how a community is going to rebuild, because we have been put in these boxes with these cell phones. And this is essentially what our life has become, and it is sad. So, moving on, we got our sticker campaign. So we started getting into the town hall meetings. We know who all our councillors are. I'm from a small town, about 4,000 people. They recently amalgamated the province. Most of you must know about that. So now we're all in districts, inside wards, and I don't know about you, but this sounds a lot like Hunger Games to me. But basically, we've got our districts, we've got our wards. We just found out about this secret district that wasn't even made public on the government website. It is the Fundy Rural District, and coincidentally it's Kingston, it's Browns Flats, it's Canaport and Mispec and St. John, it is the Sheppity Road out to Fundy National Park, and this district holds closed door meetings. So the public can't even go, and to me it looks like a whole lot of Irving property. And isn't it, speaking of the Irvings,
yeah.
Shouldn't we know that there's something wrong in New Brunswick if Irving ups and leaves the province? Yeah. Like, isn't that a clue that, pack up and get out?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've got a lot of issues going on, and getting back to town hall, we know our councillors, we grew up with them, we grew up with their kids, we know all their dirty secrets to begin with. There's this guy that none of us knows on the town council meeting. He's unelected, thanks. He is unelected. We had to dig up a bunch of research on him. Turns out he was actually my town's manager for the longest time, and now his new title is the Chief Administrative Officer. So he is an unelected member whose job is to sit on town council and sway them to do global directives, anything sustainability. Like, we watched this unfold. A teacher from our high school came in and gave this great presentation that was done, and they even had the town name spelt wrong. So that was an indication right there that whoever built this presentation had no idea what they were doing. Anyway, so she gives this great presentation, which was really just reading off a bunch of facts. I guarantee it, she went to a summit probably about a year ago and learned all this stuff. Anyway, so the town was just eating it up. Oh, this is great, this is great. Anyway, fast forward to the end of the meeting, they bring it back up again. This snake in a suit looks over at the councillors, nods and winks with a sly smile. They push that sustainable directive through without any consultation from any of the public. We haven't heard anything about it. So we literally, through going to the town councils, through going to the courts and being witnesses, we are seeing the corruption in front of us. So what do we do with this? We have to start getting these notice of liabilities out there. So from personal experience, I am tying back, not experience, but I am tying this gentleman, unelected official on my town council, back to Envision St. John, which is the main sustainability directive that St. John adopted back in, I believe it was 2017. Anyway, he is, Envision is tied into Envision Canada, which is tied into this huge construction company in the States, which is tied into this data collection agency that serves 330 million people and gets data from them 5 million times a day. And yeah, and it's another one of those, what do we call them? World Economic Forum champion companies. Yeah, so anyway, now that we can trace the proof back, what we can do is serve this gentleman, or I can serve this gentleman with a notice of liability. Everyone can. And that's my point today. You have to get involved, you have to see harm, because when it comes to human rights, it's the inherent truth of knowing right from wrong. And when you see wrong or you do wrong, you are liable. And if you do good and you know, promote the good, then essentially you're breaking no laws. You're living by the rule of law. So we really need to identify these people that are turning a blind eye to these blatant human rights violations. You know, if someone does you wrong, chances are your human rights are being violated. And you need to address that, because what you can do is, once you get an affidavit from this person, or some form of proof, or not an affidavit, sorry, once you get some form of proof from this person that they are doing wrong, then you can press criminal charges. And that's where the notice of liability comes in. It's a process that we need to learn and we need to get behind immediately, because I can tell you this from experience. Our town councillors are not listening. Our MLAs are not listening. Our MPs are not listening. Hell, most of our province folk are not listening. So what we need to do is we need to start taking these guys to court. We need to start, even our judges in the court system, you know, they say they don't see what's going on, whether they do or not, that's irrelevant, but they're basing all of their laws off the charter, and that's bogus. So we need to get in there and start building case law and building maxims for the Bill of Rights, and really taking our power back and our human rights back. Anyway, I could go on. Another few things. So in Basket, we see the need for something and we execute. So we need some real news in this province. So we brought out Wake Up New Brunswick. It's got a nice little coffee cup right beside the Wake Up. Anyway, it's got all of our events. It's got all the hot topics you need to know that's going on around the province. I believe my kids passed out some copies, so thank you to them. They're troopers, by the way. I pulled them out of school about a year ago, and they have been a part of this. And I'll tell you, no 7- and 8-year-old know their human rights like mine do. I'd love to see anyone try to infringe upon their rights. But we've also, so another thing we love doing is making these pamphlets, okay? We've got one right now today. It's on our 15-minute cities. It's got our contact information, etc. on there. But essentially, we are a database of information. So we are building up pamphlets for nearly everything, any cause, and we want to get uniformed message out province-wide through pamphlets, signs, stickers, and maybe once people start to see the yellow, they start to see what we're all about, maybe more people will find their voice. And I can tell you from this process, I've had people come up to me that didn't, you know, they just recently through digital ID were like, wait, hold up, something is not right about this. So, you know, I want to thank those people for using their voice, because there's not enough people coming forward anymore and actually saying, you know what, I have a problem with this. I'm going to find other people that have a problem with this, and we are going to come together as a community, and we are going to do something about it. So anyway, get your news over here, and we got our contact information on there. If you want to find out what we're doing in Hampton to kind of stir the pot a little bit, just get in touch and we'll show you what we're doing. Thanks, guys.